Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer, welcome back to Train Sim World, and welcome to the West Somerset Railway. So this just downloaded recently, seriously within about the past 15 or 20 minutes, and I'm just going to do a quick, I guess we'll do this one. First scenario, start at the top. What perfect timing too, because I just ran out of scenarios. I've been starting on services, doing services, and it's not, I have to say, it's not awesome. They're good, but they're open-ended, you know? Okay, so welcome to Williton. Take this Class 47 locomotive, light engine, down to Bishop's Lightard? Okay. Unlock the junctions. Get the track ready for departure. So I'm guessing that's going to be this one. Okay. Do we have to do it here? Frame rate. Moment, please. Are we loading a new map for the first time? There we go. Jeezy Pete's. Scares the hell out of me every time it does that. Now, I thought, yeah, I had these big things turned off, so it may have turned these back on for this scenario or whatever, but I want these to go away, so we will. All right. Now where? Climb aboard, okay. So yeah, I've been enjoying this without the big green markers. We'll figure it out. We've been in this DLC for all of a minute and a half. I'm already complaining. Oh, right. So, open the door. And I want to climb up steps. I sure do. Close the door. Sit in the driver's seat. You got it. All right. Now there's also set the master key to on. You got it. On. All right. Set the reverser and headlights. This looks like headlights. On, which is very basic. Reverser to, I'm guessing, forward. There we go. Ready to depart. Set the brakes to release and increase the throttle. Before I do that, you know I gotta find. That'll do, I suppose. Right, brakes off. Okay. Any other brakes? Nope. And here we go. So there was a big update today also, not just DLC, but there was a big update to the game itself, and we seem to, now we're in a different DLC, to be fair, but we seem to have picked up about 15 FPS. And I know I've seen some comments on the threads, a lot of people saying like, I'm not going to buy this game until they get it optimized to the point where I can actually play it, because as it is right now, it's just too. Are we set the brakes to release and increase the throttle? I have increased the throttle. Okay. So I'm not sure. Oh. Okay, got it now. We're in a different DLC. We're in a different area than we've ever been in before, but we seem to have picked up some FPS, and I know that is something that I've heard people saying in the threads on the forums. I've seen people saying like, yeah, no way, it's too. It's not optimized enough for me to play that game. Optimize it, then I'll buy it. And I've also heard some people say they don't like the price of the DLC. They think it's very, very expensive. That what they're charging for DLC is what they should be charging for a game. And I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, it's It is expensive, yes, but it's also worth it. I don't know. Hard to say. I think this is gorgeous. I'm really pleased with this so far. I want to get rid of those markers, but we can do that another time. I like my immersive. You know me. Right. Don't know how the brakes work in this train, so we will test them a little bit. They work pretty good. Right. All right. Step 1. Go via location Grocombe Heathfield Loop Platform. 5.6 miles. Okay. Let's do it. Where's my horn at? Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's head down there to Grocombe. Grocombe Heathfield is what I'm going for. I'm going to stick with that. Now this is strictly a locomotive. Is that what I'm seeing? I'm not totally familiar with British rolling stock. But it looks almost like an American trolley is the reason I'm asking, but I think that's all diesel and electric in the center there, and there's no, unless it's all diesel, I don't know. I'm used to diesel to electric for a lot of applications in the States, so I don't know if that's diesel to electric or all diesel, but I'm guessing there's nothing in the middle but power. And it may look like a trolley, but there's no passenger compartment in the center there. Here we go. Let's open her up. Fantastic. Yeah, man, these train sims have really grown on me. I've come around to it. I'm a fan now. So we'll start doing these scenarios, and what was the other thing? Oh, I'll get these big markers turned off. I'll leave them on for now, because honestly I can't remember what it was that I did to make them go away, but I would prefer that when I look out the windscreen I just see scenery. Man, it's a good looking game. I think that's pretty immersive. Textures are good. I'll say the textures are good. I gotta bring back my HUD just in case. Yeah. Yeah, that works. Works for me. Now, what's this 0.8 miles that I see down below? What's that all about? Is there something behind us? Are we going the right way? Gosh, I hope so. Let's go here. Huh. Might be bugged out because I don't see it on the map. I only see it. Maybe we're going back after we get there. Don't know. Let's look around a little bit more in here. Does this one have a hot plate? Sure enough does. Is that a hot plate? I think it is. So we got this over here. This out here. Beautiful. Does that go anywhere? Drake brake, headlights. Beautiful. All right, man. Very cool. Got an emergency plunger. Fantastic. Guess we could pick up the pace a little bit here. I'm lollygagging. Oh, look at all this. Got this. Got that. All these. Fantastic. So I'm not sure. Now I am concerned. We do have a marker up ahead of us, but we don't have the countdown that I'm used to. Or maybe it's, okay. I think when I switched those markers off, the big markers that show up in the world, the big green disc, we are speeding, I just noticed. That big green target, I think it turned off the yard counter in the HUD, and that's what I've been relying on recently as far as where we should be going. So I have to assume that's it out in front of us. But I am curious why there's a marker showing behind us, 1.8 miles at the moment. It's not showing here. Curious. Okay. Well, we'll just figure it out. And if it is bugged out, not a big deal. We still got to see it. We still got to play with it a little bit. And there'll be an update tomorrow. Fix everything. So I didn't really read a lot of history on this railroad, but apparently it's the West Somerset is a kind of a big deal in the UK. It's a historically significant railroad. So, and I do like, I have to say, I do like that Dovetail, and I've talked about this in other videos, they're not bound in the same way that SCS is. SCS is bound really to release DLC that connect with maps that already exist. And I feel like Dovetail is not bound in the same way. They can make local lines anywhere they want. And I feel like SCS could do the same thing, and I feel like they will at some point if they release an India map or a Japan map, although I suppose that might be an entirely different game. So you'd have European Truck Simulator as the original, an American Truck Simulator, so there might be Indian Truck Simulator or Japanese Truck Simulator, China Truck Simulator, whatever. So it might not be a DLC, it might not be a map, it might be a whole standalone game, but Dovetail, I love that they can just pick and choose of all these significant or historic railroads all over the world. They can just pick whichever one they want and build a map, build the rolling stock, call it good. I do love it. I'm gonna hit the vape here. Let's hop outside again. This all works for me, and I'm loving that frame rate too. I feel like it could be this DLC, or it could be that they've been reading the forums as well and decided to tune things up a little bit, optimize a little bit more. I don't see, and again, this is just this DLC, but I don't notice any decrease in quality or as far as textures or anything. It still looks to me, it looks as good as it ever did. So I don't think if they did optimize it, I don't think they caused any setbacks, or you know what I'm trying to say. They didn't have to detune it to a point where it's where it starts to hurt. I think it still looks fantastic. It's interesting. Got some stuff up here. Love it. Yeah, even going through there, a little bit more scenery intensive. No drop. Take that back. Maybe just the tiniest drop. Couple FPS. Well, cool. This is, in fact, I guess I can check this way as far as how long this line is. You know, this is, I don't know what the length in miles is. I'm guessing maybe 20 miles, because this is what, 2.5, 3 miles. So 1, 2, 3, 4 that way, 1, 2, 3. So that'd be 9, 12, maybe 20 miles, 25 miles. So there's not really a lot there, and it makes me think a little bit of the Rapid Transit DLC. That I wouldn't say I was disappointed. If anything, I was a little bit surprised. The first time I fired up the Rapid Transit DLC, and it's more or less just a line through the city of Leipzig, and then the one piece of rolling stock. And yeah, surprise is the best word I can use. Like, oh, okay. You know, I was used to, I guess, different amounts of content. Even though CSX Heavy Haul, the original one, was again just one line end to end, but it had some spurs, and it had a variety of rolling stock, a small variety. And then what was next? Great Western has the 3 locomotives, and then what was the one after that? NEC? Yeah, has 2 locomotives. Yeah, you see what I'm getting at. And this is certainly longer than Rapid Transit, and it does have 2 locomotives. And it looks like there's some things to do as far as the scenarios. I saw a few things in there. So I guess what I'm saying is I don't want to get bound up, you know, the difference between quantity and quality. You know, if this is an unbelievable DLC and the quality is just tip top, and it's hours and hours of gameplay and simulation gaming, and it's just awesome from end to end. I don't want to get hung up on the fact that there's only 2 locomotives or there's only 20 miles of line. So I'd like to keep an open mind about it, I guess, and make sure that I am seeing this for quality and not quantity, because the quantity is, again, like the Rapid Transit, maybe a little surprising, but certainly not lacking in quality from what I've seen so far. And I'm not sure if this stop up here is kind of the end of the scenario, the end of the line, so to speak. We'll see when we get there. But I'm pleased and impressed so far. It's got a feel to it, if that makes sense. It's got a definite feeling. And I grew up in the UK. I grew up in London. And obviously it's not London, but I spent a lot of time in the UK and in the countryside. And I can only say that this definitely, to me at least, has very much a feel to it. You know, as I'm looking at the scenery passing, I'm really getting a feeling for the area. And that, to me, in simulation gaming, that's a very elusive goal, but it's when a developer nails it. To me, that is what simulation gaming is all about, is when they can give you the way the shadows from the trees on the left are sort of coming over the tracks, and the position of the sun and everything, and it's just got a very authentic feel to it. There's no other way to describe it. Very immersive. So kudos to Dovetail, and like I said, you know, I want to measure the overall gaming experience and not get hung up on quantity. Very pleased so far. Good sound too. It's got a nice rumble. I did I'm really trying to figure out how to adjust the sound in this sim for recording, because the electric locomotives are so different than the diesel as far as volume. So I don't know how loud this is going to be on playback, but either way, I think we'll sort it out. It's not a terribly loud locomotive compared to like some of the American freight engines. It's very much quieter than that. Right. I'm curious what the station looks like. What did we decide on? Grocum Heathfield? Grocum? Grocombe. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not a G. Crocombe. I'm going with Crocombe. We are going uphill, but I think the aerodynamic profile of this locomotive, which is, looks like, I mean, to me that's got the same aerodynamic profile as like maybe a small apartment building. It's not exactly slicing through the wind. So when you come off the throttle, plus, like I said, we're going uphill. When you come off the throttle, it just immediately starts to trail off, which is not a big deal. As we're learning the brakes, I'll take it. Should we give one of those as we're getting into the station here? Is that a thing? All right. I wouldn't say the brakes are good or bad. We don't have any. We're not pulling a train, so I think it's right. How'd we do? Just before Bishop's Lightard. All right, so we're going a little longer. You got it. Once we get sorted out here, take another look at the map. So we're not quite going to the end of the line. So we're to stop just before Bishop's Lightard. Every time I read one of these names, hang on, we're going downhill now. Sure are. There we go. Now I've got a straight brake. I didn't, as always, I didn't read about anything before we jumped in here. I just jumped in here. So I don't know if this locomotive has any type of dynamic braking, and I'm not sure what the straight brake is. But I suppose we'll find out in time. I get enthusiastic, man. What can I say? I like to just jump in and play. It's the best way to learn stuff, I think. Curious what this map looks like with a little bit of fog. You know, a little mist early in the morning. Those ponies? Cows. I think they're cows. Could just be this DLC, but it seems to me that they've done some optimization. The game seems faster. It seems crisper. I mean, the graphics, to me, the graphics look better and faster. And those typically aren't two things that happen at the same time. I mean, it can, for sure it can, but typically to get, when a developer has to detune a game a little bit to pick up some speed, they need to detune it. They need to tone down the graphics. And then just the opposite, if you bump up the graphics, you typically lose some speed. It's not, in my experience, when games are optimized to get faster, they either look the same or sometimes they look a little bit worse. But rarely, in fact, I can't even think of a time when that I know of, when a developer has optimized a game for speed and had it look better. So if they were able to pull that off, and again, it could just be this DLC. When I'm done here, I'll go ahead and fire up I think CSX Heavy Haul, the original one, I think wouldn't say the worst one, but I think that's the one for me that beats up my frame rate the most. So I'll go ahead and fire that up, because it's not just a DLC that came in today. There was a big update as well, about 500 meg worth of update. So kudos to Dovetail if they were able to make all the DLC this fast and this smooth without compromising quality of the graphics. Yeah, man, I'm stoked. I can't wait to. And there's another little locomotive. That little. It's gonna sound ridiculous, but you know what I mean. Looks like something from Thomas Tank Engine. It looks like a cartoon locomotive. That little stubby yard thing. I want to see what's going on with that guy. So, we'll get this posted. And we're barely heading downhill now. We're only 3.3% down slope, downgrade. But I feel like this thing wants to just take off, more so than when it was much steeper earlier. Curiouser, yo. Right, and I'm kind of hoping this is the end of the scenario, because I do need to. I didn't expect this to come in tonight. I've already posted my 2 videos for the day. This is like a secret bonus video. Release overcharge. Okay. It's like a secret bonus video, because I was not expecting this today. I had just fired up Steam, and I saw a couple things download for American Truck Sim from the workshop. And, like 25 meg or 50 meg or something, and then it was like, oh, by the way, 500 meg, big update. And I thought, because they do that sometimes. So I went and looked, and sure enough, there's DLC. So, very cool. So let's get into Bishop's Lightard. I'm going with Bishop's Lightard. If I'm wrong, you let me know. And we'll see if that's the end of the scenario. do this. Still got a ways to go, but I'm getting used to the brakes. No need for any heroics, right? Now, I'm curious if this is, I know this is a historical line, but I'm curious if this takes place in the present day or historical. Because which one was it? For Train Simulator 2018, was it the Riviera? Was it the Riviera scenario or the Riviera DLC? Was it the Riviera DLC that took place in like the 1940s or something? I think it might have been. Well, either way, that was historical, so I'm curious if this is as well. And the thing about that is, you know, I like that, but I like the idea of historical DLC. But I also realize that it sort of rules out any overlap with any other DLC. And I suppose it's a matter of opinion whether or not that's a good or bad thing. Let's see where we go next if we're done. Contact the signal box, and typically that is tab. Proceed at restricted speed. You got it. Coupled to formation. Oh, fantastic. We got all kinds of stuff going on here. I don't know what the restricted speed is. We're not going very far, so I'm just going to move very, very carefully here. I imagine it's 10 miles per hour. It's the only signal that I'm getting. So, what the hell was I talking about? Oh, like the Northeast Corridor. Well, the Acela service in the United States, the Acela service runs from like Boston to Washington D.C. and that entire route is called the Northeast Corridor. In Dovetail, it's okay, came back. We were just loading a tile, I think. In Dovetail, they refer to a much smaller portion of that as the Northeast Corridor. So I don't know if they're going to expand that DLC out when they add the Acela, as they have to at some point. I don't know if they're going to add the Acela to the NEC DLC as an update, or whether it will be a separate DLC. If so, now, this is something that took me a long time to understand that you don't connect trains in the UK by smashing into them. You get out and do it manually. But I didn't know that. So we go over here. No. Click to couple. There we go. Manually couple to the coaches. Did we do that? I'm not... Oh, we did do that. Okay. Now what happens? Set the reverser to off. No. Set the reverser to off. Right. Switch the headlights off. You got it. Lock the train. Set the master key to off. Objective complete. Disembark. You got it. Looks like they want us to go up and over. I'm impressed with the scenery. I really am. I'm impressed. Initially, right out of the gate, I wasn't crazy about the textures, but they are growing on me. I like them. There you go. Okay. That's our first scenario in West Somerset. Fantastic. Folks, thank you so much for stopping back to check out The Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Train Sim World, West Somerset DLC. We'll see you next time. Take care now.